So my boyfriend spends hours looking at himself in the mirror. They're both 21. My boyfriend is obsessed with himself. It'll take him like an hour to get dressed in the morning because he spends at least 30 minutes just staring at himself in the mirror. When we go out together, I'll constantly see him checking himself out in store windows. He'll pretty much take a glance at himself in anything that'll show his reflection. Oftentimes, this can be perceived as really approval seeking behavior. So it's like you're worried about what other people think of you. And so it's like, am I looking good? And so it's because it's like, if I'm looking good, then your meaning is like, well, if I look good, then people will respect me or people will like me. And it's just a way to really seek that sense of approval. And what guys have to understand is that this behavior really drops women's attraction. And so it's like sometimes guys will get caught up in this thing where I have to look so good. But really, that mindset and thinking, oh, I need somebody to like me or whatever, this means that I'll be liked or whatever. It's like that kind of approval seeking. I said it again, but it's like it drops her attraction. And looks aren't the biggest thing to women. They are important, but it's more important to really own yourself and then be more in a masculine essence, really, to achieve that attraction. You will see exceptions with like sometimes women are more in their masculine and men are sometimes in their feminine. It's just about really owning who you are and owning your own essence, and then finding someone that kind of complements you with kind of like a think of yin and yang, really. Um, so if you're like balanced between your feminine and masculinity, you want somebody balanced. If you're more towards your masculine, you want someone more towards their feminine, and vice versa. But guys will often do things like shirtless pics or whatever, thinking that women will like them, because it's like in their mind, it's like guys are pretty visually oriented, and so they're really attracted to visually appealing women. And so they think, if they're not really experienced, that if they can become visually appealing, then women will like them in the same way. But it doesn't work like that way. At first, I thought maybe he has extreme self-esteem issues. So this is what she's thinking. She's like, that's what she's going to be thinking if this guy's like trying to prove how good he is or prove something to make him feel better. But it's really coming from, she perceives it as him coming from a place of low self-esteem and low self-worth, or is always anxious about his appearance. But I think it's the other way around. He seems to be so full of himself. And I think it's the same, coming from the same kind of place of insecurity a little bit. He'll always make comments about how good he looks. Now, sometimes this can be conveyed as confidence. So it's like if he is like cocky, sometimes even that cockiness can convey certainty and confidence. In that regard, it can build attraction. But if it's overused, or if she ever gets a vibe where it's not like appropriate situation to be cocky or whatever, it's like too much of it can be insecure. Or how he has the perfect body. Yeah. And so that even is like a nice guy kind of approach too. I'm reading No More Mr. Nice Guy, that book, so I'm kind of filtering out these things, but it's like seeking that perfection. It's like the nice guys seek that perfection, and so therefore they'll constantly try to basically hide what isn't perfect in them. But what they often don't understand is sometimes like their insecurities and their faults can really be like the glue that builds connection with other people, because it's like the faults make people seem like the other person's just real, and they can relate because everyone has their own faults. And if somebody just tries to always cover them up, it's like, well, it just doesn't seem like that person's like really genuine. I'm all for body positivity and having a great self-esteem, but it just feels so excessive. Yeah, when it's excessive, it often comes from a place of insecurity. Should I be concerned, or is it just being because he's comfortable in his own skin? This excessive and this much focus on how he looks, especially from a guy's perspective, is really, in almost all cases, approval seeking, unless it's like focused on his mission. Maybe he's a bodybuilder or something, then it might be perceived as that he's working towards his mission, and that can be, attractive from a woman's standpoint. Um, but if it's not, if he's just like always trying to build himself up, it's coming from a place that he feels like he's low or he's not of much value, so he has to do something. It's an illusion of action that he has to do something to raise other people's interest, because if he doesn't do something, it'll just come to his really core belief that he's not good enough or he won't be liked just how he is.